Hello, in this lesson we're going to start creating the class of our widget. You have already understood the concept and the abstraction involved in the process. Now it is time to get down to business. Let's start by creating the file inside the widgets folder. Its name will be class.mv-testimonials-widget.php. Here inside, we're going to create a class called MV Testimonials Widget. The difference between this class and the others that we have been creating here in the course is that this one has to extend an existing class in WordPress called WP Widget. This new class has to override methods and attributes defined in its parent class WP Widget, right? A widget must have at least the following methods: a public constructor method, another one called form, another method called widget, and a last one called update. The constructor will get some basic information from the widget like the title, the ID, description, and some other options that we'll see later. This is also where the widget will be registered. Only after it is registered, it will appear in the widget manager for the user to create as many instances as he or she wants. The form method is for creating a form in the widget manager. For example, I will show you here an instance of the recent post widget. This area here is the form, okay? If you inspect this, you see that we have a form with the post method. Back to the code. This method takes one required parameter, which is the instance of the widget. Instance is an array that contains the widget's form fields that are saved or will be saved in the database. As I explained in the last lesson, each time you drag a widget into a widget area, you have a different instance of the widget. That is, each of these instances can have different data. For example, you can pass a different title to each of them. Another example, if your widget has an option that allows you to store the number of posts to display, each instance of the widget will have a different number. One will store 5 posts, another 6, another 10 posts, okay? So instance here refers to each widget's data group stored in the database. The widget method is responsible for displaying the widget's content in the frontend. It needs to receive two mandatory parameters, args and instance. Args is an array that contains the HTML markup of the widget. Remember those HTML tags that the theme used to wrap the title and content of each widget? Before title, after title, before widget, and after widget? That is, this data is passed by the widget area that is being used by your widget. Instance, you already know what it is. And finally, the update method received two parameters, new instance and old instance. The purpose of this method here is to update the information in the database. It will be called every time the user completes the form and clicks the Save button. Well, we're going to build all this here part by part. Let's start, of course, with the constructor. To start implementing the constructor, we have to call the constructor of the parent class, since this is an extended class, alright? So we do it like this. Parent, colon, colon, underscore, underscore, construct. And then we pass in the necessary information. If you open the parent class, we see here that the constructor accepts these parameters here. ID base, which is the widget's ID, name for the widget's name, and 2 more optional arrays, widget options and control options. We'll pass just a few of these values. So let's go. First, ID base, let's pass it like this, mv-testimonials. Then name, mv testimonials. And I will also pass the option widget options. And I can set it up here if I want. Within this array, I want to pass just one option called description. And I'm going to pass a description to my widget already wrapped by the text domain of my plugin, like so. This text will appear right below the name of my widget on the left side of the admin, okay? If you want to know what else options can be passed here, check out the description of the WP register sidebar widget function, alright? By the way, I should have mentioned this before, but now is also a good time. I learned a lot about the Widgets API by looking at the code of native WordPress widgets. Sometimes the examples in the WordPress documentation are too simple and you end up with no idea how to implement some more complex things. So I realized that the source code from the native widgets is great to go in depth. If you want to know more, just go to the WP includes folder, widgets, and here you have the classes for all the native widgets. Look how cool it is. For example, I want to know how a certain field was created and controlled in the recent post widgets. I can open the widgets class here and take a look at how this was done. You can do the same thing for some widgets that you downloaded from the WordPress plugin repository. This is how I learned new things in WordPress. There are not always good tutorials out there. So snooping around other people's code is almost always the best way out, okay? So let's get back to our reasoning here. To finish the constructor for now, we'll register our widget for use. This is crucial, okay? Without it, there's no way you can access the widget, okay? So here's what we do. We call add action. The hook to register the widget is widgets init. And here, if I want, I don't need to pass a separate callback function. I can use a kind of anonymous function like this. And in here, I call the function register widget. And I pass the class responsible for the widget, which is this one here, MV testimonials widget. Now to finish this lesson, we can require this file in the plugin's main class and instantiate the class. We already know how to do this, so let's go. That's it. Let's see what we have for now. So reloading the widget manager page. Look how cool it is. I have here my widget with its description. If I want, I can create an instance of it by dragging it to this area here. But as you can see, there is nothing here inside the form yet. This is what we'll start creating next time. So see you there.